welcome. Welcome to the Algoma University Professor Spotlight. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me.
On this Friday morning. Well, you can just jump right into it. So I'll just start by introducing myself. I know we haven't met, but my name's Taylor Nicey, and I'm an enrollment specialist at Algoma University, and I work at the Brampton campus. So later when we're back on campus, maybe I'll see you around the hallways, which would be nice. I was start off, could you give us a little insight into who you are and what led you into the position you are in now?
Wonderful. Thanks so much. I am a full-time faculty at Brampton campus, Computer Science Department of Algoma University. And a little bit about my education and background. So I did my PhD in electrical and computer engineering from University of Windsor. And then I did my postdoc from University of Windsor. So, I did my graduate and undergrad studies in Pakistan. So for a short time, I worked in the industry there, but I didn't like it so much. It was never satisfying, I would say. So I had an inclination towards teaching. I liked teaching. And then I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to start teaching about a couple of years after I completed my graduation. So I'm in this profession since 2005, you can say. And then when I came, and then, I joined Algoma initially as a sessional last year in 2019. And I really loved the environment here, the diversity, the people here, they're all so amazing. And then when I got an opportunity to apply for this position, there was no second thought for me, actually. There was no second thought at all. I mean, I love the place. So this was just an easy question. I just opted for this one. Yeah, so this place is really amazing, by the way.
I love that. I didn't even prompt you. I didn't even ask you, what do you think? You're like, I'm just going to tell you, I love Algoma.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, really. It's so welcoming, you know. It's so welcoming. I didn't have any problem in anything. If you ask anything from somebody, if you need help with something, everybody is ready to help you out. And the students are amazing. They're really amazing. That's the best part. That's what a professor wants, right?
Oh, for sure. That's amazing. I love that you love it so much.
Yeah.
You have a favorite class that you instruct?
Well, I would speak a little bit generally because there are certain years that I really love to teach. So I love to teach in the very first year of the program and in the final year. First year is a little challenging. That's why I love it more because they're not much familiar. The students are not much familiar with the university environment and how things work here. So it's a challenge for a professor to explain the concepts to the students in a way that they can grasp them very well. And then they also have to encourage them and keep them interested in the subject matter. So that's the challenge part is there. And then the students themselves, since they are not very familiar with the university environment, they have a lot of fresh ideas. They don't know too much from the academic perspective, but they have learned a lot from the environment. So when we ask them to complete an academic task, they bring their own fresh ideas and they incorporate them in very interesting ways. So that's why I love the freshman year. I like the final years because they're about to complete their program. They are already familiar with it. And they're now about to enter the job market. So they need some insight for that. They need some specialized training, some guidance to be able to prepare for their job market. So for their career, for their professional career. That's why I love these two classes. Others are good, you know, but these are my favorites.
Those 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, those two.
But you teach classes for all years?
Well, I have taught classes for almost all years, yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I understand why in the fourth year, like the contrast is nice between the years. And in the fourth year, just being able to be more of like a mentor to the student, and you would have gotten to know them so well over their course, their degree. So it's more of that like personal relationship, and it's so interesting to see where the students end up going as well.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's
Yeah, and students, they love to hear from successful people like yourself as well. Like, could you give some examples of what types of careers could come from this degree? Whether it's just jobs that you've worked in the past, or even just jobs that you've seen your own students go into?
well, there actually there are so many possibilities for a computer sciences graduate. There's so many. I can just name a few, and these are the fields in which my students are working or I have worked in the past. So if someone is interested in computer networking side, they can work as a network engineer for some enterprise. If they're interested in network security, they can adopt that career as network security specialist. If they like programming more, then they can adopt for either web application developer positions, or they can be a mobile application developer, senior developer, depending on their experience in desktop application developer. Some of the computer sciences students work totally in the field of hardware development, which is the chip level development and the programming at that level. So really, there are so many possibilities. Databases is one other. I just forgot. Somebody can also have a career in database and cloud, platforms and all those. So these are so many things, and so many more are emerging. As the technology is advancing. So
Yeah,
with that advancement, so many more new fields are emerging. We don't even we there. I mean, I can only list so much.
oh yeah, I don't need you to list them all, but everyone just future students would love to hear where they could possibly go. I know that everyone has a unique path as well, and like you're gonna dabble in one career and maybe switch to another one. Like everyone has their own path, but it's nice to hear about all the possibilities.
Yeah, it totally depends on the student's interest. So really, I'm so proud right now of my students. Some of them are working for companies like Bell Canada
Yeah.
and others. So it's really amazing, and they're all at very good positions. So really, the career is very strong for those who are interested.
It's so nice to hear that you're so proud of them. Yeah, I'm sure they're very successful.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for students considering this degree? They're thinking like, oh, maybe computer science. Maybe some of them are thinking like maybe engineering. But if for a student that is considering computer science, do you have any advice for them to whether they should just go for it or what they should really be focusing on?
Well, it's important to identify their own interests. That's the first thing that I tell every student, that this is a decision that you're going to commit to for the next coming years. So it's important to identify where your interest lies. But if you have found some interest in programming, and then this is a very, very interesting field. Programming, coding, networking, whatever is related to computer science. If you have interest in any of these, then this field is really very interesting. Each